Good afternoon. It is the Daily Live. It is Monday the 9th of June. Just over a week till we find out the new Premier League fixtures. And when our opening game will be at the the Hill Dickinson Stadium. News today that Dominic CALVERT-LEWIN is set to leave Everton Football Club.
Yep.
Paul Joyce has said that contract talks have stalled. This despite Everton releasing a statement saying that they are still talking to Dominic CALVERT-LEWIN. Paul Joyce then put a story out saying he's about to leave. So
yeah.
Where do we stand on it?
Mean that, you know, what they said, we're offering new contracts to Coleman and Gay, but we're still negotiating with Keane and CALVERT-LEWIN. Does that mean everything's done with Coleman and Gay?
I'd suggest that means that
they came to a full agreement.
They're agreed.
Because it seems like surely you're talking to all four of them then. If not,
well, yeah, I mean, I imagine for Seamus it'll be a decision that
what role he's going to take up.
Yeah, whether or not he won. Everton have gone, there's that, and he's happy with it, but it's whether or not he accepts it.
Yeah.
Gay, I think it's all done. I think it's just the fact he's away with Senegal, and he's still an Everton player for a few weeks anyway. Regard, I think that's all agreed.
Yeah.
And he'll sign. CALVERT-LEWIN,
well,
I think it's done, I think.
Yeah.
And I think Michael Keane, I think he's got 3 or 4 other clubs after him as well.
It depends sort of what Michael Keane wants, isn't it? If he wants to play first team football, or at least be in with a shot for first team football, it's not at Everton, is it? But if he's
you wouldn't have thought so.
Choice, then he can stay at Everton, and you know what, doesn't have to move out.
No.
But yeah, it seems weird that it's taken this long, because there must be at least a decent offer on the table for Michael Keane if they're still negotiating, purely for the fact of Decore and Ashley Young are already gone. So if it was like there was no chance, he'd already been gone by now, wouldn't he? So be interesting what happens with him.
Yeah.
But CALVERT-LEWIN's done, isn't he?
CALVERT-LEWIN is the biggest one, obviously. Been a great signing for Everton, £1 million, done a really good job, but the last few years haven't gone as well, obviously. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Really, I think he's still got something to offer for clubs, something good. I think if he gets a good move, I think he can do well.
Yeah.
I think he'll be a handful. Obviously, when we play them, it'll be a bit of an interesting time when we're up against them.
Yeah. That's unless he goes abroad.
Unless he goes abroad. I'd be happier if he went abroad.
Yeah. I feel like it makes more sense for him to go abroad. I feel like he'd suit it more.
Yeah. But we'll see, isn't it?
Yeah, because he spoke on the High Performance podcast a lot, didn't he? Saying how he just wanted in like the 18-yard box, and he just kept mentioning that, saying that's where I want it, and he doesn't really get that anymore at Everton in sort of a way. So just somewhere where they can offer him that, and that's why in the Premier League you look at sort of like Newcastle, you look like Arsenal, you do get the ball into that like area loads. I feel like he probably would thrive there and get back to sort of that where he was.
I think Arsenal. If I'm Arsenal, I'm taking them all day long. Only as the backup.
Yes, because they need a few, don't they?
Yeah, but, you know. But listen, he's been our striker for years, and you know, wish him well. Hope he does well. But I'd like him to go abroad.
Yeah.
To be fair. And then obviously it'll be on to what we're gonna do. I mean, is there any part of you that is gutted he's going, or if you just sort of accept it because he's done nothing in the last year in terms? I don't mean nothing in terms of playing. I mean nothing in terms of feeling like he's wanted to stay at Everton.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because you do have that connection, because he joined us when he was dead young, and he's worked his way up to sort of being Everton's main number 9 for years, and he had them really good stints under Ancelotti, and even the goals against like Palace and stuff. He's a big part of sort of recent Everton, and he's sort of in many ways he's been sort of, you can't get him out of the team. He's been at the front of Everton's line for ages, and so in that way I'm a bit sad, because you know how long he's been at Everton and stuff, like the memories you've got like attached to him and stuff. But then also I think he hasn't been really great for a few years now. I think, you know, whether it's injuries, which I know he hasn't suffered loads of, he had like a stint where he went like a good few seasons without them, but whether it's injuries or just not performing really to the highest standard. I think he sort of fell victim to Everton being so defensive that he hasn't really been giving them chances, and in the same breath he hasn't really had competition for his position, and so it's just got a bit boring with him, hasn't it, really? And it's just it might be a bit harsh, but it's the easiest way to put it is that when CALVERT LEWIN gets the ball in certain areas, you sort of know what's going to happen. It's never really like a shock of whether he's going to do something amazing or not with it. And I think it's the right idea that both of us just move on. And it's something that I've sort of echoed like throughout like the last week with Ped, that I just want something fresh for Everton and just something a bit new. And I think that's why everyone's really loved Beto instantly, is that he is sort of new and he doesn't really do the same thing as CALVERT LEWIN. He's a bit more of a different profile. And yeah, I think it's sort of ending an era if you get rid of CALVERT LEWIN. It's everything's starting to look a bit more fresh, and that we're putting that behind us in sort of a way, like that period.
Yeah, and again, I'm a great believer in, unless you're a 30-goal a season striker, you shouldn't be a club's main striker for as long as he has been. And that's not having a dig at him. That's more where Everton are. You know, and who knows if Everton would have had other strikers who come in who were better, maybe they would have dragged Dom's level up. He's suffered with injuries. He has suffered playing for Sean Dyche. Any striker would. Any striker worth his salt would be killed under Sean Dyche as a footballer, because it's a thankless task. You run your bollocks off, you close people down, we don't create chances for you.
I think that's
it'd make you want to stop playing football, playing for him.
It sort of heightened sort of everyone's anger with him, didn't it? Because we didn't get really many chances. If he did miss like that 1v1 or like one big chance, it was like that was our one chance of the game and we've lost it now. And I think it's a lot of pressure to put on him, and I think you're right. I think anyone's really going to struggle with it. And post Ancelotti, he's just we got a better manager, and we sort of carried on the form that he was in under Ancelotti.
Well, he got injured. He talks on that podcast, doesn't he? Saying he played the first three, which we knew at the time anyway. But he was playing with a broken foot, broken toe. And the problem is, when you play, anyone who's played football or anyone who's been an athlete or any, you know, if you do your sport carrying an injury, the chances are you'll injure somewhere else, because your body's trying to compensate for what you're doing.
You're putting the strain somewhere else.
Exactly. And sadly for him and us, he put the strain on his quad, and then his quad got injured, and then it took him 6-7 months to recover from that. And that knocked him at a time when he just got 20-odd goals, and then he started the next season with 3-3. And then he got injured at Brighton because he's running around on an injury, so his body's not in, you know, full harmony. Therefore, the quad injury destabled him and destabilised us, and then he's rushed back and gets injured again. He's out and that knocked him really in. And that's sort of where his development stunted them. You know, he was on an upward trajectory goals wise, and since then he's been on a downward trajectory. The
players he had around him as well, when you look at like the Ancelotti team with like Richarlison, Hammers, Sigurdsson, even Digne and stuff like that, who were all feeding balls into that areas for him. It was perfect for him. And then he starts getting injured, all the players around him slowly start to leave, and it's like he comes back into a completely different team.
And a team that is trying to get a 0-0 draw every game.
Completely different role. He shouldn't be in the 6-yard box or 18-yard box anymore. Should be on the halfway line, ready to take the ball down with his chest. And it's like, you can understand why he'd be frustrated at Everton, but then you can understand why fans are all.
Of course, we're entitled to be frustrated and disappointed, because we come support our team. We want to see our team winning, and we accept that. We may only get a couple of chances in the game. You have to. That's the pressure. You have to be able to take them, and sometimes he took them, and other times, and he's never been brilliant at 1v1 ever. He just hasn't. He's fantastic in the air. He's unrivaled really in the air. But on the floor, he's never been a clean finisher that way, and I wouldn't have a go with him for that. That's horses for different players. I've got different skill sets. And that it might be all right when you have 3 or 4 chances a game. You might miss that one-on-one, but then you get the next one and score a good goal.
And then everyone around you've got like 1 or 2 chances.
Exactly, everyone's relaxed. When it's not your skill set, and that might be the only chance your team gets, and you don't take it. Because Erling Haaland misses 4 or 5 chances a game, but still scores 30 goals a season, because his team creates that many. that when he misses, he isn't tight. It's just like, I'll get another one in a minute.
I'll make
and
sure
people
that
around them are relaxed. And it's only really been this season, because City haven't had the goals they've always had from everywhere else, that when he's at them games and they've been beaten, people have looked at him and gone, actually, is he any good? Is he, you know, and he's getting questions. So, listen, CALVERT LEWIN for £1 million quid's been brilliant value.
Absolutely.
And he's going to move on, and we wish him well. He scored one of the biggest goals in Everton's history against Crystal Palace that kept us in the Premier League.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very much like Decore, who scored an equally big goal against Bournemouth to keep us in the Premier League.
Yeah.
They're going to move on, and it's a chance for David Moyes, I guess, to totally reset.
Feels like an end of an era sort of departures, don't they?
Well, it is, and again, you'd have to say to both of those lads, you know, you've done well for us at a time when it hasn't been great in Everton's history. Everything around the club, the way it was run, the people owning it, the money, the team has been the only consistent thing that has been marvellous has been the fan base.
Yeah.
Everything else hasn't. We move on from it. I said to you before, if CALVERT LEWIN would have re-signed, no issue with it. Would have had Beto, Dom, and then gone and bought one of these strikers. Tierney, Barry keeps getting mentioned. Him, I'd have gone, you know what, I've got 3 there, Sam. But it's not to be. So, you know, the big thing for me now, and I think the real interesting thing for me now, is Dom's obviously going. We've got Beto. Does David Moyes bring 2 in? Because we've got Chimity, and Yusuf Chimity's season's been decimated by injury as well. He's undercooked because it's a lad who hasn't got enough games to develop. So what does David Moyes do with him? Does David Moyes get him out on loan if we bring in one? Well, if we bring in one, are we really happy to say we've only got 2 strikers at the club? And the other thing, and this is a key thing, right, is that it's really interesting who we bring in up front, because if we bring in a striker who's going to represent an African nation, Beto, Guinea-Bissau go to the AFCON.
I didn't even.
And if we got another striker who's again, you know, going to be representing an African nation, then Everton could end up with no strikers for 3 weeks in January.
I didn't even think
because Njai will go, Adrisha will go. So you're talking, and again, that's something to weigh up. You weigh it up and go, well, you know what? It's great. We're trying to bring players in, and you go, right, we're going to bring in this player, this player, this player. They're all African players, so they're fantastic, loads of ability. So do you worry about 3 weeks when they're not there, or do you go, all right, well, they're gonna go off and represent the nations at the AFCON, but they're away for 3 weeks. But for the rest of the season, they're brilliant and they play for Everton. So because Liverpool had this, didn't they, a few years ago? They had Mane and Salah going off to the AFCON. It was like, and they had someone else, one of their other players as well, Keita went and Matip, and all of a sudden 4 or 5 of them disappeared. And it was like, wow,
what do we do?
But that's only 3-4 weeks at a push, really, to be without. So you can't build a team and go, well, we're not getting African-based players, or, you know, African representatives, because they're not going to be here for 3 or 4 weeks. Because those players might be, like, Idrissa Gana Gueye is outstanding for us. We still probably want to go and play for Senegal at the AFCON. So we can't go, well, there's no point re-signing him because he gets off. So you have to look at it that way. So I think it's a real balancing act. I know that, you know, Tierney Barry, say, for argument's sake, has represented the French under-21 side. He's also Guinean descent, so it's whether Guinea would want him, you know, try for him, or whether he's confident enough to carry on and go, I'll play for France. So it's interesting, but I just think it'll be really interesting to see what David Moyes does. Do we get 2 strikers? What do we do? I'm
really interested with Chimity, especially, though, because, you know, if you remember, me and Ped had our sort of debate about do we play Chimity, or do we play CALVERT LEWIN, not really knowing if CALVERT LEWIN was going to stay and stuff. And I was pretty strong on saying that Chimity should be playing loads of games, and then when Moyes did come in, he got quite a few minutes, and, you know, I always go back to the West Ham one because I feel like that's where he sort of made his biggest influence, when him and Broja came on and they sort of changed the game for Everton in a way. But then after that, he barely got any minutes, and then towards the end of the season, I don't think he came on really.
No.
Even if it was more than like a few minutes. And I just thought that was a bit telling really, with that maybe Moyes isn't confident in him, or maybe he doesn't think he's ready yet, because in games where not saying it didn't mean anything, but for our league position and everything, it didn't really mean anything whether Schmidt played or not. So you would have thought, even if it was just like half an hour or whatever, you'd get more minutes to see and evaluate whether he is a good striker. But the fact he never, I thought, was very telling that maybe next season he won't be at the club and he probably will be loaned out somewhere, because I don't think I'm saying, I don't think he's good enough for Everton, because in the sort of the short glimpses you have seen, you can see he's got something, and he has sort of got that natural finishing ability, and he is good on the ball and stuff like that. But we went over this same point loads. He's not played football really at all.
No.
He had a short stint in Sporting's team when he came in for an injured striker, and then he came to Everton, and he's had at most like 3 games total now.
I don't think it's even up to 3 games. It's like 2.5 games. His minutes add up to.
So it's like you can't rely on him, Beto, and then another striker, because if one of them gets injured, is Schmidt sort of good enough to lead Everton if we want to take that next step up and be a bit more ambitious?
Well, what do we do then? Because I think for his development alone, where he's sort of almost guaranteed, there's no guarantees because clubs have got to get points, but where he's got a good chance of playing is vital. I think if he got 30 league games next season for someone, brilliant. Brilliant for Everton, and it really helps his development. So what do we do then? So if we go, let's just argue, for argument's sake, say PSV wanted them, right? And I know they've got good strikers, so they might not, but just say for argument's sake they wanted them, and we said, right, you're going on loan to Holland for a year. What do Everton do? Do you just leave the team with 2 players, Beto and just say Barry? We're doing a lot of reaching here, but just say Tierno, Barry, and it's Beto. Then what do we do for number 3? Because we haven't got anyone underneath. Martin Sheriff ain't number 3. He ain't. Right? Braden Graham's too young right now. And you couldn't put that weight on them. The only other one you could say could fill in there is Illiman and Jai. But then you'd have to play a totally different way. Yeah. Because he's just slight. He's a dribbler. He's not pacey in behind. Now, okay, you might go, well, we're all right with 2 because we'll be really unlucky if we get both of them injured, but then this is Everton. Yeah. We have 4 strikers this season, and at one stage we ended up with 1 fit for 6 weeks. Beto, because Schmidt was out, Brozier was out, Dom was out. So, what would you do? Because you've also got to think of who you're bringing in.
Well, I think it goes back to what Pedro was saying last week in a way, that so say we do sign 2 strikers and we have Beto and 2, you assess Schmidt, and if he's good enough he stays, if not you sell him, and you pick the best players for Everton, and if he's not sort of performing to the standard, I don't think Everton should stop themselves from signing like a Burkhardt or something because they think next year Schmidt might be just as good. I think Everton should still sign the strikers and then just make it a lot more competitive, and then maybe in a year's time you say Beto isn't good enough, or
but do you see Everton bringing 2 of those strikers? I would. I'd spend, my budget would be almost blown on the forward players. Yeah. But the way you can amortise it and all that, it isn't blown at all. It's actually quite easy to spend. It's be easy for Everton to spend £150 million this summer and only have a down payment of about 40 million quid or 35 million quid, because that's where it is. It's cash. Yeah. Right? And that's in the books. It's just that we have to find that 35 million quid next summer, and we have to find the pay for those players. Everton could quite easily spend 120, 150 million this summer. Yeah. It's been proven many times. John Blaine will tell you exactly how. This is how teams do it without spending. Ridiculous. It's just that your headline number, you go, how much? Liverpool are trying to buy Florian Wirtz for 135 million, having just spent 30 on Frimpong and going to bring Thingy in for 40. Yeah. So that's going to be 200 odd million. Liverpool's down payments on them will be about 35, 40 million. Yeah. But everyone will go 200 million. So Everton could quite easily spend 120, 130 million this summer. After July the 1st, they have to get this year out the way and build the team that way. if Everton were to buy Tierno Barry and say Nick Walter, mate, for argument's sake, that might cost Everton £70 million.
Yeah, but
the reality is it probably cost Everton about 15 million quid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then that still leave them money to buy fullbacks and midfield players and wingers. Everton should be looking to spend those kinds of money in the final third, really, and with a Habib Diarra for midfield.
Yeah.
And then piece the rest of it together with some loans. There's some frees out there. Because that's the key for Everton. If you look at the way the team is, you know, we've got Jordan Pickford, Jake O'Brien at right back, Tarky and Branthwaite, and Michalenko. Well, that back five is actually quite solid, really. We know that now. Okay, we can get nuances there. We can try and get another defender in, which we should. We should be getting a left back in. And then if you look into... Then if you look in midfield, that's where you want to bring someone in midfield. Then you try and get loans. It could be Jack Grealish. They keep talking about him on loan. Get him in then for a year. Because then that gives you a year's time. If Everton done that with the forward players and brought in a Burkhardt and brought in a Barry, or say it's a Walter Maid and Barry because those two can play slightly different positions, then in 12 months' time, you might be ready to sell better. You might go, these lads have done really well. Schmitty's just had a great season. He looks like he should be part of it now. Beto, you've been great. Thank you very much. You're 28 now. You've done great. We've got some money for you off your pop. And then Everton are in a healthy position again.
Yeah. It's sort of what Brighton do, isn't it?
Well, that's really how you should do it. They're about to sell João Pedro to Newcastle.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll have someone else.
And they'll have someone else.
Probably out on loan now.
Exactly. So that's how you have to sort of pre-position yourself. I'm just interested to see how Everton will do it. Yeah. How Everton will pre-position themselves, because they need another striker.
Yeah.
They need another striker for Chimitti's good and for our good.
Would you value then in the sort of striker the fact if they can play a different position? So like you say, like how Walter Maid you can play as a 10, or you say like how Barry you guys played on the right, or even... I don't know, there's loads of strikers been linked to it. They can play like sort of on the wing or something. Would you value that more then for that fact of when Chimiti comes back, or having Beto and someone else? Because that's what Barry is. He's
I honestly,
right a bit, hasn't he?
Yeah. I honestly, I think we should be sort of, but I wouldn't say we're not getting him because he can only play up front. Do you know what I mean? But I would value, like Barry can play right or left as well as through the middle. Omega's another one Everton have been mentioned, can play right, left through the middle. We've seen Gessan, you know, so Burkhardt is more of a direct striker, but again, he's talented enough. You can move them. These players can go and do it. They can go and play in other positions, just that you couldn't really play better wide right, could you?
No.
So he really is a unique kind of profile. So the value might be there, but I think we do need more than just the one. On a super chat, I think it's the door. It's just hasn't said anything, so but thank you very much for the super chat. Or it's someone with no name who simply said the door, or maybe he's just talking to CALVERT LEWIN. But I will go and check further down after the super chat to see if he's made a comment, because I would have liked to thank him not only for the super chat but to read out what his thoughts were. Carlos has said Callum Wilson.
Well, there's a few like older strikers linked, isn't there? And even like Mitrovic and Jamie Vardy and stuff have been named.
Well, Wilson's free, isn't he? Jamie Vardy's free. Mitrovic would be 35 million. I wouldn't touch him.
No,
Danny Ings would go near him, and I think David Moyes fell out with Danny Ings. Bob the Blue says, "I'd sell Chimity." Why would you sell Chimity? Like, for what reason? He's got a 5-year contract. He's 20. Oh, sorry, he was 21 last week. Why would you sell him? Why wouldn't you get him out on loan and develop him? People talk about like Martin Sheriff.
Yeah.
And yet he's probably a year younger or the same age as Chimity. No. Chimity, get him on loan. Then we can look. We look at Chimity on loan as a season on loan. You might be right then. You might do all right, but you go, not really sure whether he's going to be good enough for us. We'll sell him. Or you go, yeah, he's in here now. He's looked excellent. I won't be selling him right now. It's crazy.
What do you make of Moyes not playing him towards the end of the season, though?
No, well, clearly he wasn't doing something.
Yeah.
Clearly he wasn't. But then again, Ped told us the minute Dom's fit, he'd be back in.
Yeah.
And he wasn't, was he?
Yeah. I said that and he wouldn't have that either. He said it.
That's what he said?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we'll see. We will see. I just think it's great. Do you know what I mean? I think it's really great for everybody. Son of a goat boy, email us and give us all your details. We'll have a look into it for you, mate. See, we need 3.
Yeah.
Gary Pring says, rather have kept Dom and sell Beto this summer. He's not good enough. 11 goals in 60 games in 2 seasons. What's Dom got in 2 seasons?
Yeah, I've just seen Tariq Lamptey's just signed a new contract.
Has he?
Yeah. A year extension.
So they can
sell him.
Sell him, basically, yeah.
Sorry, that's one. Or unless they pay for him, that's one off the list of potential free transfers. Is today like a day where people have to say what's happening with the contracted players?
No, but it's like 3 weeks out, isn't it? So people are just obviously in June. Players are probably putting thingy. Daniel B says, congratulations, Roberto Martinez winning the Nations League. Good subs, tactical tweaks. Where was that in bonkers season? They still basically got destroyed by Spain last night. They like hardly had the ball. It was like a Deitch performance and he got the penalties and won it.
That Nuno Mendes is some player though.
Yeah. No, some great footballers. They've got, they had a good manager, Portugal, like a better manager than Martinez.
Yeah.
They could be phenomenal with the players they've got.
Especially because they've got the PSG midfield.
They don't get me wrong, he won it. So fair, yeah, congratulations to him. But
footballing wise,
I don't think the Portuguese are too happy with the way he plays football.
Yeah.
But Gary, well then you have to take into account Beto got no service either, mate. Listen, I've said I've defended Dom all along, right? But at the end of the day, if they both played the same amount of games with the same amount of chances, Beto would outscore him. That's just a fact. My opinion. And he sort of proved that, didn't he?
Yeah.
His starts, he's got 1 and 2, basically, Beto. But, listen, each to their own. Each to their own. We should be looking for better than all of them, because that's how you improve. Should be looking for a better goalie, a better centre-back, a better move. That's how you get better. Dusan Vlahovic, yeah, I'd take Dusan Vlahovic. Absolutely would have taken him. But again, I think what's he, 20, 25, 30 million euro, I think. And you wonder why Juve.
He was linked to like Arsenal at one point for like 100 million win. He's 25, yeah.
I'd absolutely take him, mate. Absolutely take him. But you don't know, do you? You don't know what's going on. Mitch the Blue says, Baz, you're talking far too much football and sense. Pity people at the club don't think the same. Well, we'll see. Well, let's hope that it's let's see what happens this summer, is all I'd say, mate. Mitch, let's see. Because it is a new sort of regime now, isn't it? So, listen, if we get to September and it's been similar, then yeah, we can start going. There's definitely a problem within the football club. But let's see what happens. Sophie says you've seen the links with Alpa Yilmaz. Yeah, he's not one I'd be going after personally. Sophie, I don't think he's quick enough for the Premier League.
Yeah.
To be honest, but other teams have looked at him, so I honestly don't know. He's just not one for me. Doesn't mean he's not good enough, and Everton shouldn't get him. I'd take Amadou Onana back yesterday, mate. He instantly improves our team, like by some distance as well. But yeah. Brad says, what do you think of Werner for 4 million? Is that all Simo's up for? 4 million quid?
Yeah, I saw that.
I'd have Werner.
Absolutely, he's rapid, isn't he?
I'd have him as an option. He misses lots of chances, but I think he's a real option, and especially if you're looking for, if you want a different profile, you want someone with real pace. He was great for Leipzig. He's not really done it. He's not done it as a year, let's be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
But he does give you an outball.
Yeah, it said that he beat like 3 to 4 million. That's all they want for him.
Again, listen, I would understand anyone who goes, oh, no, because he misses chances, of course. But Everton don't have that rapid ball, do they? They don't have the rapid out, the outball to get someone in. We have no pace in this squad. But I don't know. I don't know if they have. I don't know the figures that Everton have to spend, but I know that just by moving to the new stadium, the match day income or the revenue from that almost triples just off that. Then you've got money from Hill Dickinson coming in as well as everything else. There's also the repayments on the interest has been reduced hugely, saving Everton tens of millions of pounds from July the 1st. Realistically, Everton should have a cash budget really of 40 or 50 million pound this summer. So when you amortise and things like that, that should be able to be extrapolated to 120, 30, 40 million pound really. Whether Everton will do that and all that, I have no idea. But they certainly should be able to get signings in and spend a big bit of money to get these players in, absolutely. If it was, can Everton spend cash 100 million, 150 million? No, they can't. But we're not talking cash. Yeah. We're talking
spreading it out.
Spreading the payments, which is what everyone's doing, to be fair. Brighton spent 240 million last summer. Didn't spend 240 million, though. They probably, I think, that's seeing there, Kieran Maguire had said it was like 41 million or something.
And now
or whatever it was.
Probably paying
and then they'll just sell. And that's Everton. We're going to have to get into the habits as well of getting some of these players and selling them 1 to 2 years later and putting that back in and redoing it until while we bridge. That's we're going to have to. We don't like it, but we're going to have to do it. Let's see. Yeah, really sad news about Uriah Rennie. Really sad. 65 as well. No age, that. He was a good referee. Character. I don't think there's many character referees around now, but he certainly was. Quite calm and he was like basically a trailblazer, wasn't he? The first black referee in the Premier League, and he was good. He'd get in people's face. So yeah, very sad news. David Goondry says, morning gents, grateful for Dom's Crystal Palace goal. Absolutely. Matt Gibson says, afternoon lads, looking through social media this morning, it bothers me to see how it appears being a nice lad that tries is the most important thing to some. Being liked more than what you actually offer is why we're where we are. It's very much a part of why we fail. Okay. I mean, that's interesting if people are praising people for being nice on social media, because normally that's they hate you. They hate anyone who's nice. They're angry and, but Martin says, afternoon boys, from still a sunny Crete. No. Did you buy your Goodison irons? No, not at all. Harrison says, I think Seamus would be a good coach wage, but he's registered with the squad. And when he plays a game, he gets a bonus payment. I think that'll work. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I think he probably will just be registered as a player, but it'll be like emergency, I imagine. But I don't know. I mean, who knows? Bappy says, afternoon lads. With the Dom news for what he cost, we really can't knock him. Scored that goal against Palace, had a magical season under Don Carlo, probably due to Hammers pulling the strings, bringing 2 new strikers. The club brings in once the proper window opens. Steve Carlisle, hello Steve, says, hi guys, the Echo now saying the offer to Dom has been taken off the table.
Wonder why would that happen?
Maybe he just
don't want him.
Maybe he just doesn't he wasn't going to budge or was asking for too much. I don't want the club have just gone, no, it's removed.
Yeah.
Ian the Blue says, afternoon lads, what's annoying is they offered him a contract which he turned down. He had the opportunity to sign last year. If he doesn't want to sign, then part ways, go and replace him before it's too late. And that's what's worrying. I don't think Everton, it doesn't seem like Everton are going to do any real business until July the 1st.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating. But there's nothing stopping Everton getting deals done though. There's nothing stopping Everton agreeing everything with Villarreal now and saying we'll sign him on July the 1st.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And that's just done instantly, yeah.
Nathan says, if he's leaving, thanks for the memories, some really good goals and being value for money. He's had some great times, mixed with injuries, all the best for the future. Yeah. Gary Ward says, if he goes, it's with my best wishes. Yeah. Paul Williams says, as a sentimental Evertonian, I'll be sad to see him go. It would have been interesting if he hadn't got injured under Moyes. It might have been a different conversation. I wish him all the best, whatever happens. He's got us some important goals and was an absolute bargain. Correct. In the Blue, just doing what you've done. The Lamptey signed a new deal. But says, why does it take us so long to sort contracts out? In what way?
The contract's still going, isn't it, for 3 more weeks, basically?
It's tough. I mean, Lamptey's been talked about for ages.
Yeah.
Hasn't he?
Yeah.
About going. So they've been talking for ages and he's only just agreed a year. I mean, it's interesting that he's agreed to stay.
Yeah,
Mustn't have had any interest. Eddie says, good luck to Dom. Let's hope he goes to Italy. Yeah. Mike Raff says, thanks for the time. Now time to move on. Eddie says, time to get Barry and the German giant.
Too messy.
Sign more South American players instead. Gavin says, Barry 9 has a good ring to it. I can see the shirt looking good just above Baz.
I'll have O'Brien above me.
Yeah, why not? David Earl says, we need 2 new strikers. We have to freshen it up. Luke Murphy says, afternoon lads, we should get an out-and-out striker, Barry or the German fella, and then go and get someone that can play on the right as well as a forward similar to Richarlison. Type profile, not suggesting Richie. I know we were linked with Fofana from Chelsea, that type of player for me. Well, Walter Maid isn't really a striker, is he? But we'll see. Andrew L says, thanks for getting me through today. I've just woken up from an operation. I hope everything went well, Andrew, and I hope you make a very speedy recovery, mate, and are feeling better soon. Jake says, time we got a number 9 who gets 20 a season. Where are they? Because everyone wants them. What we're going to have to buy is potential. And who knows, that could be Tierno Barry. Stan says, all right, lads, I've honestly never thought Dom was good enough. A striker who doesn't score yet seems to be the way these days. They play up top as a 1. So as good as his hold-up play can be, we don't utilise it properly. Fair enough, the service to him wasn't very good, I'm paraphrasing. But he's not a goal scorer. So for me, Dom, it's goodbye. Fair play. Jay says, Dom has been a good servant, whether he stays or goes, love him or not. We need to strive for better all over. We debated last week where would Grealish get in Everton's side. The answer is in Njai's position because he's better. No sentiment anymore.
But you know, in the same with that, because I was thinking about the Grealish thing, that if Grealish does play on the left, Njai, his position is like sort of the 10 behind the striker. And if you look at all of his goals, it comes from coming from that range and beating the defenders. So I don't think it's a bad thing if Grealish does sign, purely for the fact that Njai will get in his actual position. I think it'd be an interesting sign.
It's right, Sog, you've sorted it. Good lad. Absolutely. Listen, Jack Grealish instantly improves Everton.
Yeah.
So therefore,
get him in.
What would be the problem?
Yeah. If it was like, you know, so Chelsea loaned Sancho from Man United where they didn't have to pay any fee, and they had to pay 50% of his wages, which is 150 grand. If Everton got the exact same deal for Grealish, would you do it? No fee, 150 grand a week. Because that's one I could see happening if it was them terms. And I'd say yeah, for a year.
I don't think it'd be that much. I think City'd let him out for a third.
Do you think?
Yeah. I reckon City'd let him out. If Everton paid about 100 grand a week, I think City'd be alright with that. Still £5 million for the season.
But yeah.
The challenge for him is, or the challenge for Everton is, finish higher up in the league. Go higher up in the league, and then that pays for it.
Yeah.
You know? Had this conversation with the Piv over the weekend. It was like, well, what's the plan if you get him? Like, you're just getting him for a year. But I understand what he's saying. Should we really not just be getting someone who's staying then, who you're building on?
I know, but yeah.
But then
he gets us Europa League, then it opens up way more players to come in.
Well, the whole thing is he makes you better. Yeah. So if he makes you better for one season, but the plan, you've got the next one ready to go.
Yeah. And
he comes in and has a good season for him and a good season for you, then it's a win-win, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Bill says, good luck to Don, best for all parties, I think, if he goes. And Gladiator says, afternoon, lads from Perth, Australia. Defo talking sense, Baswick going and getting both strikers, but when did Everton ever plan for the future and think outside the box? No, I know, I'm just saying what I'd do. It's not necessarily what other people would do, of course, or what they might be able to do. I'm just looking at the way modern football is and the way you can pay for players now.
Yeah.
It's changed. It means you can go and spend money. But we'll see. We will see. Eltel says, get Grealish, pay half his wages. New ground, his face all over it, would be an unbelievable signing. Well, that's it. Would you take Anthony? Someone just mentioned it. Anthony's available for loan. He's just been brilliant for Real Betis.
Do you think his sort of play style doesn't suit the Premier League? Because you'd look at him.
He's got loads of ability. I'm not convinced.
He likes a lot of time on the ball and a lot of dribbling, doesn't he? And I don't think in the Premier League, because of how physical it is, you don't get that sort of time. And that's why he's been a bit bad for United. And I don't think Everton should get him.
Will says,
spin as well.
Yeah. How could you ever have McNeil and Grealish on the pitch? Why would McNeil be on the pitch?
Yeah.
With Grealish? I don't think, without being disrespectful to people like Dwight McNeil, I think David Moyes is looking for better than all of them.
Yeah.
So it's up to Dwight. If Dwight McNeil gets on the pitch, then it's because he's earned his place to get on the pitch. I don't think he will just be a squad player under David Moyes unless he improves massively. Jack Grealish would be in regardless because he's just infinitely better than Dwight McNeil. Just is.
Yeah.
Isn't he? Dwight McNeil's got a wonderful left foot, we know that. And set pieces are key, but Jack Grealish is just a better footballer. That's why he's played for England 40 times. That's why he's won a treble with Man City, won a Champions League, because he's just a better player.
Yeah.
Kerrod says, I'm also in hospital for an ACL, MCL, lateral meniscus and medial meniscus.
Wow.
Authentic 2004 Everton home kit arrived at home. Can't wait to have a look at it. Good luck with your surgery, and again, also make a speedy recovery. Voltage says, I think we'll go through all of this stress of getting in strikers for Beto to have an absolute goal fest next season.
I hope so. I hope he's right. Then it means someone's performing really well.
Why not? Kerrod says, get Kudus in. Yeah, but what would they want for Mohamed Kudus? They probably want like 50 million quid for him. I like him, like he's good, but I just don't see them selling him, to be honest. But
I think Newcastle are linked to him though.
Yeah.
But Newcastle are linked to everyone.
Chelsea are linked with them now as well. I mean,
again that by own
again, Chelsea are linked with them. They're getting by no Gittins as well.
It's just, they just got everyone.
I don't know whether you never shone so brightly he's being taking the mick or not. I'm going to say probably is. McNeil is better than Grealish.
Yeah, he's taking the mick.
Yeah, he's taking the piss, isn't he? Fair play. Owen says, do we need to worry about Pickford with this Tuchel nonsense? No. Tuchel's an idiot. If he genuinely thinks that Dean Henderson or James Trafford are good enough to even lace Pickford's boots, then he's in the wrong job. And I like Thomas Tuchel, I really do. But we'll see. We will see. I just think it's absolutely scandalous that it's
even a conversation still.
You heard Pardew yesterday. Pardew going on yesterday of like, yeah, I'm not sure on Pickford. I know he's been all right for England, but...
Did you see that article that gave him a 3 out of 10? And he got a clean sheet because he didn't do anything amazing with his feet, like passing it.
Idiots, mate.
How can you get a 3 out of 10 for keeping a clean sheet?
Because these fellas who are allowed to write...
It was mental.
It's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing, as you would say. Cato says, any Roma players you would take a punt on? Manu Coney.
Most of them.
100%.
Yeah.
Manu Coney, right this second. Right this second. But yeah. Gerard says, Baz, who do we need in the middle of the park to get the ball moving and be creative? Feel like we're lacking there. We are lacking there. I don't know. You never shone so brightly. Baz is trying to gaslight us into believing Grealish is better than McNeil. Oh, dear me. He can't be serious though, can he?
No.
I can't bite. I can't bite on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let it go. Let it ride. Because you can't. No, don't. Just leave it. Yeah, it's thingy me there. It's threw me onto another thing there.
What's that?
It's knocked me off.
Oh.
I can't, because there can't be a human being who thinks that Dwight McNeil is better than Jack Grealish.
I know one who does.
Oh, yeah. Apart from him, because it's his mate. The problem is, someone's asking about midfield. The problem you got with the midfield is we've got a Drissa who goes everywhere and is basically our best player all the time. Someone to go alongside them's tricky. What do we do? Do we want the 6 that's just going to sit? And if the 6 just sits,
yeah,
then we need someone in the 10 who creates.
Yeah.
But the person in the 10, is that going to be Alcaraz? Or is it going to be Iliman and Jai? Or is Jai going to be on the left and we've got a fast right winger? Is it Jack Grealish on the left? And do you know what I mean? So you start going, I'm not sure what we do here with them. It's tough for David Moyes to work out, isn't it? But we do need, Will's just said, and he's right, we need another Onana.
Yeah.
You know?
Someone's big, win the ball.
Mm-hmm. And we've got, we're doing our videos, aren't we? There'll be a striker one that we've looked at, that'll be coming out. I've got the midfield ones lined up, but you can go and get, they're all slightly different. It'll be interesting to see what he does.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've been linked with like Sean Longstaff and people like that.
I just don't believe them ones. Do you believe them?
I don't know, because every man, we've been linked with him since, and when Benitez was here, Benitez wanted him and it looked like he might come. And then Benitez got sacked and that was it.
Because I don't know if we went like a week without the Sean Longstaff link, even when it's not the transfer window coming up. He always just seems to be linked with Everton.
Mm.
I don't know if it's just like they haven't got any news to put out, so just thought I'll just put the Sean Longstaff link to Everton out again.
No, I know.
Because surely he can't be linked that much with us.
Chipper 1878 says, currently got my foot up after undergoing an angioscope on my right knee. An angioscope?
I don't know what an angioscope is.
I thought angioscope was more like for your heart or whatever. What's an angioscope on your knee? Does it just mean they're looking in it or whatever? What are they doing? Why are all our even our fans are injured? Even our fans are injured. It's mad. It's mad, my God, man. Matthew, I can't now. He's fully in working. So he wouldn't be able to do it, sadly. I used to love doing it. Me and James have done one for forwards, but the Piv was great. We used to have a great time doing them, but he works in it now. He can't do it, can he? Robert Smith says Richard Rios for that 6 role. Yeah, Everton have looked at him before, Rios.
Yeah.
Good player. It's a good player. Philip says, does Sean Longstaff have a house in the northwest or something? It is mad, isn't it? It is weird how always we'll link with them. It's absolutely mad. Yeah, I'd have Graham. I'd have Papa Guy as well. I would have Papa Guy. 100%. Matthew saying Cherky to Manchester City is done. He's the second person to say that.
Oh, you know what they have done though?
What?
Scott Carson's leaving at the end of the summer.
Oh,
he's got the best job in football.
We could get Scott Carson in.
They haven't announced it yet, but I assume it's just done.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Poor Scott. Although he's had a great life for the past few years, just being the third choice and not having to worry.
But isn't he about 41 now? He's made for life, isn't he?
No, that's what I mean. He's got the best job. He's got a season ticket basically, and got to train with them.
Matt, he is good. Uche is good. He's a bit more. My only issue with him, and I haven't. Don't think, and in fact, I haven't put him in R5 midfield targets. What we could be going at is because he's an attacking midfield player. Don't know whether or not we would put him in the alongside Guy, because he is good though. Jack Toffee, he's good. He's good. Chipper says bloody predictive text. I had an athroscope on. Yeah, that's more like it. I was thinking. Charlie, yes, I'd have Lewis Ferguson. Very good footballer. Although he scored an Oggy the other night for Scotland, didn't he? But he is good. Philip says Scott Carson, 108 minutes of football and 11 winners' medals. What a life. Kato says seen Leeds a bid for Habib Diarra. Well, it's probably the same one that said we bid 3 weeks ago for him. Until it's been accepted, you know, we'll see.
Do you feel like until July 1st, clubs that aren't like in the Club World Cup or Champions League should probably take all like the transfer rumours with like a pinch of salt, really?
Well, they've got to do it, haven't they? Everyone's looking for stories, aren't they?
Yeah.
And agents are testing the water with everyone, and agents are trying to get
money first in
people, you know, trying to get it going, get people talking about it, trying to get the interest drummed up in their players. Who knows? I imagine most of the business will be done after July the 1st.
Yeah.
Gav says, not Everton related, but what do people think about Thomas Frank as the new Spurs manager?
I think it's a weird. Do you think it's a weird one that they sacked Ange anyway? You can get it, but then you can also feel like it's harsh. If you would have had an aim for the season, it'd be get Champions League, and he got Champions League
and a trophy.
Yeah, so it's like he met all the criteria. I think Thomas Frank could be really good for them.
I think he'll be good for them. He's a good manager.
Yeah.
But we'll see what his level is. He looks really, don't get me wrong, he's done a great job at Brentford. But they do lose a lot of games. They play right on the edge. So Ange played right on the edge. But we'll see. He looks like a good manager though. And if he gets it right, Spurs could be will be exciting to watch.
Absolutely.
Who knows?
They're meant to be getting the Ipswich manager, aren't they, Brentford?
Yeah, they're getting McKenna, yeah. So I think two good signings. One for Spurs and one for Brentford. I think it's really good. Rich, absolutely. And he is in one of my 5 wingers who we should be looking at, by the way. Just so you know. In case you're injured and watching them. Injured? Seeing injured? In case you're interested. And I know loads of you like the transfer videos. And our striker one will hopefully be out tomorrow.
Yeah. If you're a
Premier member, it's out tonight. Let's have a look on Premier while we're here. Ian the Blue says there was a poll on Sly Sports yesterday where Grealish will go. Villa were favourites, we were bottom. Well, yeah, but that's gonna be like that. Listen, we're not saying Jack Grealish is coming here, by the way. We're just using him as a link. But yeah, Villa, who've said they've got no room and having to sell players, would take Grealish. Who knows? Yeah, it seems like he'd go back there. That's where I'd probably imagine him to go, but who knows? Phil Williams says, sad to see Dom go. His interview on the high performance was excellent. One point in the interview was the Palace game and his goal. If I was to name one goal from that game, it was Keane's. Completely changed the game. Then if you want to name a player, then Dele, his introduction was immense. Yeah. But
He still scored the goal. It was a good goal.
He scored the goal, and Richie got the all-important equaliser as well. But Keane goal did change the game. Absolutely, it did. Gladdy says, test West Ham with a bid for Kudus. We wanted him before he went there. United getting Anthony, we wouldn't sell him. No, I know, but they're going to want 60 or 70 million for him. And Everton just simply aren't paying that for Mohamed Kudus.
No.
When there's other players, and we shouldn't do, because our next one should be going for, players who we can make money on, really. Where are we? Jason Knight from Bristol City. Yeah. I've watched him, but I don't know. Gav says Dom got 3 goals in his last 30 starts for Everton. Get rid of him. I think he is going. Ethan Next says, do you think Dom was absolutely a successful signing? I don't think it was 1.5 million. It was less than that. So he's 100% been a successful signing. 100%. Leon Bailey. I loved Leon Bailey. So Everton, we should have got him when he was at Leverkusen. Villa got him and he done well, got injured, got back in, done all right, and then he messed around with the team and he's been in and out and hasn't done what he should do.
How much do you reckon there's one for him though?
I don't know. It's whether there's others, don't get me wrong, mate, there's others wingers now who Everton can go and get. No, I wouldn't have Eduardo Bove. I just wouldn't. See
the one who fainted? Yeah,
he had a heart problem, heart issue, didn't he? If he had a heart, I don't know whether he had a heart attack or whatever, but he had a heart issue and he can't play now in Italy because he's got that issue. Has he had a pacemaker put in like Ericsson at the fib in his heart? Mm-hmm. I don't know if he has, but no, I wouldn't. But doesn't mean I don't know what he'll do. Bobby Blue says, I see Chimitty following Thelwell to Rangers on loan. Yeah, maybe. Matthew Berkeley says, I'd have Bove. Fair play. No, not Nonso. Not Nonso.
What's happened to Nonso?
We can't be going back. Surely Rangers will be linked with Nonso. For Thelwell and Purdy, surely.
You wouldn't think Nonto's still only 21, would you? Without much you've linked to him.
Been linked with him a million times, haven't we? And he hasn't, I think he's a good player, don't get me wrong. I think he's got potential, but he's not been amazing for Leeds.
No.
He's in and out their team in the Championship.
He's also like, what's his position really?
That's the problem. Yeah. That's the problem, isn't it?
He's not big enough really to be just a solo striker.
No.
It's not, I don't know, not technical enough really for a winger. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I don't know. Tio says, thoughts on Jeremy Pino apparently being scouted. I think Bayana's better. Pino's decent. He is decent. But we're not going to take all Villarreal's players, are we?
Can do.
I mean, we can. I just don't think we do. Gavin says, would you take a punt on Garnacho?
I think you'd have to pay a lot of money for him. Like
40 million, you reckon, don't you?
I thought it was like 80, like Napoli were going to sign him for.
Napoli wants him for 40.
Oh.
Or 45. and just haven't got that money.
Yeah, I'd do 40. I think he's a good player. He's good. He's young and he's direct as well, and he can play on both wings. I think he showed promise. I just don't think he'd come to Everton.
I think we're gonna have to.
I think he's got a bit of an ego that's too big for Everton.
Maybe. The whole thing is we are gonna have to just get players who are still at developing. We're not gonna get players who are at the next level. I just can't. I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
Would you take Garnacho?
He's got something. He's definitely got something. He's quick. I don't know. Is the answer. And he's a good player, don't get me wrong. I just don't know whether what's his attitude like.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Don't know. And Moyes is big
Still
on.
Only 20.
He's got he's got loads of potential. But who knows? Who knows? Jake C, if it is a serious question, and I can't believe it is, even though you've put it is, of course, Grealish would start over Dwight McNeil. Come on, mate. Come on, mate. Come on. Yeah. Let's see. It's going to be dead interesting. Gavin Lamptey signed a new deal with Brighton, so he's no longer free.
But Kyle Walker-Peters hasn't signed anything.
At the moment.
Yeah.
At the moment. Listen, Jack Grealish to Everton right now looks unlikely, but it keeps getting linked. That's the only reason why we keep mentioning it. But who knows? Football's mad.
Yeah.
Footy's mad. And I think it seems by the day that it's becoming a better proposition for him. But who knows? Who knows? But we'll see. We will see. Right, we're going. We've got other stuff to do. You've got a great afternoon to all have. So like, subscribe if you haven't. Thank you very much. Take it easy. See you later.